Agreed, but take my standpoint with apologies. Who fucking cares? She can apologize and apologize and apologize, but until you have her running to see you when you come home, or at least a nice big
Right.
hello, hey babe, or a butt squeeze
Yeah.
when you walk by her, you're not gonna. The apology will mean nothing until you feel the love from her,
Right.
until you can trust her, and you just realize one day, holy shit, I can trust you.
So this morning she woke up and I was laying with her and she was on Facebook and there was 4 messages on her messenger at the top right. You know how Facebook's attached to messenger, it's top right, shows notifications.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, hold on, Dilly. I'm on the phone. And so I was like, I just simply asked her, like, who are those messages from? And she freaking blew up. And she showed me, and it was, I guess, nothing, I don't know yet, but she blew up on me, and then, like, I'm getting out of bed. And then I came in the kitchen, and I was like, that's the agreement we had. And I guess I was like, that's the agreement here she had. She was like, fuck off, fuck this. I don't want this agreement anymore. Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, this is in front of our kids, too. And I said, let's not do this in front of our kids. I was like, that's emotional abuse towards me, so I'm just going to leave. And so I went to work. And then she texted me about 9:56. She said, thank you for doing all that. Like, I aired up the tires this morning. Our tire was low. And I put some ice in the ice maker since our ice maker's down.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, thank you for doing all of it. She said, thank you for doing all that. I'm sorry for being rude. But that's why I don't even want to be on my phone in front of you, because you're just looking instantly for anything bad that you can make a comment about and ask you not to start something the minute I wake up. So I called Pete, and me and Pete came to the conclusion that I just sent her a voice message. I said, let's just talk about this when we get together, because I wasn't going to do it over text.
Yeah, well, like the first problem that you have here is you may have an agreement, but you don't want to be trying to enforce that agreement. You want to be trying to deal with your own insecurities,
I understand,
right?
It just happened
In the moment, yeah. Okay, so that's cool. That's cool. Chill, buddy. Take a deep breath.
But it's not cool
Okay.
how she reacts.
No, it's
And
right,
not
but you're
how
absolutely
she's
right.
not really taking the
James,
therapist
James,
seriously and doing
James,
what it says.
James, take a breath, man. I know you're pissed. Listen, hold up. It's not cool how she reacts, but you also, where you went and chased her to figure it all out at the wrong time too, right?
Yeah.
So that's going to aggravate her more, and that emotional abuse. You're telling her that's the lecture thing, right? She knows she's not allowed to speak that way. Now that doesn't mean you shouldn't confirm that for her later at the appropriate time, right?
Right.
However, you didn't. You went and followed her to go through. Well, this is the agreement we have. She knows that. Then she starts blowing up more. This is emotional abuse. I'm not going to take this. It's really just like more of a defensive approach than a way to deal with everything. Okay, so that's all done now. Next time you happen to see it, and then you would definitely bring it up at the appropriate time. First thing in the morning or late at night is never the appropriate time. Now I know a lot of times she'll probably say something like it'll always look like it's not the right time. But there's basics, like in the morning, first thing when somebody wakes up, before they go to bed, when the kids are there, things like that, right? Basics, make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, regardless, it's all done now. And so, yeah, you're right. You guys came up with a good plan. You're going to go home later, and we're going to have a conversation, and you're just going to... What's that?
I just got home. I'm in the driveway.
Okay, so, yeah, is now a good time to chat about this, right? Making sure she's available. If she keeps pushing it off, then you're going to have to do something different. But give her the chance to want to join the conversation, right?
Pete's options were like, you bring it up in therapy or talk to her about it now. But I'm like kind of at the point too is like I've asked her to do things and she's agreed to them. Like, and it's just like she's not. Okay, this is the perspective I get. She's just waiting until all this blows over so she can do what she's always done. And that she truly feels like she doesn't need to change as a human being.
Well, that's quite possible, right? But it's your job to hold her accountable for the agreements that you made in a gentle but assertive way, right? That's why I say, so if she doesn't want to have the conversation, you got to bring the energy if her energy's down, right? We still bring it up. We still have. I realize this is tough, babe. We got to get through it,
Right.
smile, tell her you're on her team, remind her, you know? I don't love the idea of bringing it up in therapy because, like, just imagine how this would go with a therapist, okay? The therapist is going to say, well, did you make an agreement? And then she's going to say, well, yes. So then is it not okay and acceptable for him to bring up and question 4 messages? And she's going to say yes. And then pretty soon she feels ganged up on. Like, it's like,
Right.
why? Why would you want to do that? You want her to feel like you guys are on the same team, right? And so I know that when they try to mediate, it can go well, but on a whole, she's going to feel ganged up on. We know.
Yeah, she's
Okay.
gonna be a sliding game.
Exactly. So I wouldn't do therapy with that. I would just start manning up and having the hard conversation, but at the appropriate time, right? And then hold her accountable for it. Hey, babe, you know I love you. You know, and part of what we're doing here, I really do still need the support. You know, it's not like now you're talking about you, what you need in a gentle way, right? You're not puking your feelings. You let her have the opportunity to go, yeah, I did make the agreement, you know, because you don't have to tell her. She knows. Now, is all that clear? Because then we can address, we can move right on and we can go to where you think she's just doing this just because. So is all that clear?
Yes. I'm not going to bring it up to therapy. That's what I'm getting out of it.
Well, and how to bring it up with her and not puke your feelings, not, you know, throw in her face everything she already knows, i.e. abuse in front of the kids, i.e. the agreements that you had, i.e. that I think that you're just saying you want to change but you don't. Like we don't do any of that. We're not going to get anywhere with that. Is that all clear?
Yes. But I want to be like, you said you changed your profile picture fucking right after vacation because you wanted a new picture of us a couple. We haven't done that. Like, I want to go in there just
Okay, yeah, but so once you get into the conversation, so you see how I started it? It's like I still need some support, babe. You know? I appreciate that we're moving forward. There's still some things that I need. And you're waiting for her to be like, okay, well, what? And even if it's a little bit aggressive, right? Or I already know it's all about you and your insecurities. Well, then she's still not in a mind frame where you're going to actually have a good conversation. If she continues down that path, then we have to alter the plan. But right now, we want to invite her back in. Your stat responding so that she feels safe, right? So she can feel like she can count on you. You're not going to blow up. The insecurity from the past is what's triggering her now, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter that she made a deal or not. Okay?
I'm not going to bring up the stuff about what we just talked about. I'm going to go in there and be like, should I ask her, is now a good time to talk?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, babe, now a good time to talk? Smile. You know?
Okay.
You know, or if the smile feels awkward, just say it gently. That's all. Okay?
Okay.
And then
what are we going to talk?
You're basically saying, listen, babe, there are still things that I need. I love you. I want to move this forward. Can we get on the same page? Are you down? You know? You remind her that you're on the same team, right? When she starts to get a little upset, right? Hey, babe, we're on the same team, right? You want to encourage the fact that you're her partner, that it's safe.
So what do I need?
What do you need? Well, you do need those things, right? But you don't want to throw it in her face that you made these kinds of agreements, you know? What you want, first of all, is for her to invite you to express what you need. You know, I feel disappointed that you haven't changed your profile picture. That's it. Stop with that one. Just start with one, right? See what she says.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't want to change my profile picture because blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I get that. Do you remember why we talked about changing the profile picture? Right? And it would be the same with absolutely everything, right? You remember when we talked about the, the messages coming in, how that might feel? Like I still feel very insecure when I see a message come in. That's it. Indisputable fact, feeling. Then let her respond. Because when she knows it's safe to respond, you're going to get a better response than a terrible reaction. That doesn't mean it will go smoothly. If now's not the right time, even if she says it is, but it's not the right time for her yet, she's not in an emotional state to do it, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to go well. But you monitor that. Say, hey, babe, I'm on the same team. You try to get her on board. And then that doesn't go well. You say, okay, I appreciate that you want to work through this, but I still think it's not the right time. And be patient.
What would already happened this morning that I can bring up? Should I ask her what she was feeling when I asked her that?
Yeah, that's really good. That's incredible. I noticed, obviously, you were quite upset. Can you tell me what you were feeling when I asked you about the messages?
Yeah.
Keep in mind, it might have everything to do with your insecurity, but it might be her insecurity about herself or her guilt. There could be
shame and guilt.
Yes, right? If she hasn't overcome her shame, going to therapy or not, right? That doesn't work for a lot of people. That's why we have our group of men. We release the shame, the guilt, all that stuff, right? So she might not be through that yet. She might still feel terrible about who she was and the ways that she handled situations. That's why.
And you see, that makes sense, but then in my other head, I'm like, she's doing this because she wants to continue doing it, and she just wants to smooth me over and make me pacify. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, but that's what I asked you earlier. We're going to separate that from the first topic. Okay,
right.
This is the first problem right now. It's having a hard conversation about an agreement you made, holding your wife accountable, and moving the marriage forward as a team, as a partnership. Okay, the second part of it is separate, and that is, are we actually getting there? So what you'll see, for example, she could be just saying all of these things because that's what people do, right? Of course I love you. I'm going to therapy. I'm fixing it. Well, we all know what we're supposed to say, right?
Yeah.
What we need to see is actions, not words. Just like I teach you guys, right? So, yeah, but you don't really want to yet, right? Like, unless you're at the point where you're just fed up, she's not growing, you're growing by yourself, then you don't need to. Because she's not going to grow at the same rate as you. She's a different person. She has different trauma. She did different things in the marriage wrong. Etc., etc., etc. She's not in a program, dude. You are. Right? You worked extremely hard for a year. She's way behind on communication skills, for example. Never mind the rest of what you learned. She didn't even get close to learning anything like that. Right? She's just following your lead with all these things. So you feel like a lot of men, you get frustrated when you're growing and growing and growing, and you're not getting the same sort of effort in return. This is not your nice guy when you are not doing it to give to get. It's just that if you're, it'd be like you're super intelligent, but you're married to a dummy. It's not, nobody does that. Like on a whole, it's just not, you can't have conversations, so you don't actually have fun on dates, so you don't get married. Right?
Yeah.
So imagine you got super jacked intelligence now. Your IQ's through the roof. Just happened. You got zapped with lightning, and all of a sudden you're the smartest man on the planet. It's going to be frustrating having a conversation with her. Now, it's the same thing with growth, right? Do you remember the example I gave a long time ago about that client I had when I owned the gym, Suzanne? She was like, I'm not going to stay married to you if you're not going to get in shape. When the kids retire, I'm traveling the world. That was a health goal and a travel goal. She divorced him. She gave him 5 years to get in shape. He did nothing. He got fatter. She divorced him. When I talked to her last time, she was traveling. She'd been to, 30 different countries, and she was having the time of her life. You know what I mean? So that's the thing with growth. Over time, the more you grow, the more stagnant she is, the harder it's going to be for you to want to be with her. But right now, you're being a patient man. You're growing. You're loving her. You're showing her by leading with example, right? So using this morning as an example, if you really start to dial this in and you take responsibility for yourself, well, yes, I'm entitled to ask that question. Could I have done it at a different time? Yes. Did I have to chase her to go talk about it more? And then say you're abusing me in front of the kids when really you kind of pushed her buttons knowing who she is.
Right.
That's not leading her. Now, that doesn't mean she would, you could do in the middle of the day, perfect timing, and there's no kids around, and I'll say right now, for example, kids are gone, and you just go in there, and everything should be just fine. It doesn't mean she's going to handle it poorly. But you're leading her. Don't let her lead you.
Can I tell her that I want her to get on her phone around me so I get more comfortable with that? Because I feel that when you don't get on your phone around me, because you're afraid I'm going to ask something that it puts a barrier between me getting more comfortable.
Yeah, exactly. You need to learn that a phone can be out and you train yourself to not think about who she's talking to. It doesn't matter, right? I trust her, right? It's like the Friend Finder app and stuff like that. Like it's still on our phones from way back when. I don't use the thing. Catherine uses it to find out, like, when I'm going to be home. She can see how long the drive is going to be left or whatever. But otherwise, we don't use that thing. But back in the day, we made that mistake of like trying to track each other all the time, thinking it would help. You got to get comfortable trusting. The only way to do that is to put faith in it, to trust. What's that?
Okay.
Yeah,
So
you
it's
can.
not okay to be like, I want you to be on your phone more around me. I want you to freaking.
Well,
Right?
yeah, you got to yes, but you have to frame it differently, right? So, hey, babe, I've done a lot of reflecting, and for my own growth and for the growth of us, our relationship, the trust between us, I need you to be on your phone in front of me. I need to deal with that anxiety. We just need to be comfortable together with trust, right? And so, you see what she says. She's probably going to be scared, right? Well, no, look what happened when you saw the messages. I understand that. And yes, there's a part of me that feels very insecure. There's a part of me that's acting on the agreement that we had. And then there's a part of me that's reflecting, going, I need to let you be free. And I need to learn to deal with that.
Yeah.
Because if she never feels free, she's never going to feel comfortable and safe with you. If she's walking on eggshells, your communication is never going to get better. Therefore, your real affection, intimacy is never going to get better. Therefore, your partnership is always undermined. That's why we do the peace pillar first. Right?
Right.
Now, as far as the growth, I don't believe it matters to really get into that question for you right now, because I don't think you're anywhere near ending this based off how fast she's growing and learning and trying to grow. The point where you're at really is you're patient, you're frustrated, but overall you don't want to tear your family apart. And so does it matter if she's a little slower? She's going at a slower rate than you? It's just frustrating. At the end of the day, if you're still moving forward in a hard conversation like today and getting through it is still moving forward, you're still going to be happy. You're not going to end it.
All right.
So we don't need to go down that path yet.
Okay. I'm going to lead the conversation with, how did you feel when I asked that question? What was going through your mind?
Yeah, it started a little differently. So close, though. Just be like, hey, babe, is it cool if I ask, or would you mind telling me, how did you feel when I asked this morning, what those messages were about? Like, give her the opportunity to have permission to share. Meaning you have permission to ask, is what I mean. Then she can start to feel a little safer, because she's going to feel already attacked. Like, she might not even be done being mad yet. Even if she looks totally cool, it could just re-trigger, right? So let her feel safe. Is it cool if we talk about, I'd really like to know how you felt when I asked that question this morning. Like, give her a chance. That's the whole, just exactly right. Use man with impact, give her a chance to feel, let her feel, get it out. And then we're trying to get her to be curious, to be empathetic, to be loving, nurturing. Remember, that's not natural for her, not like most women. So we have to lead her down that path. She's going to love it when she understands it, right? Just like you're enjoying understanding your wife, your kids, even other men better, right? It's the same thing, but unless we know it, we don't know it. We don't know what we don't know. And she needs help to learn that.
And coming down to the profile picture too, it's like I can say, like, I want your support, and like I would love for you to do that or need you to do that. But it's like, if she does do it, then I'll feel like guilty and shameful about it. Right?
Well, then that's just a temporary fix, and probably it's because you want her to change. I don't even know what the profile picture thing's about, by the way. But if you want her to change it so that you'll feel better, let's say it's not a picture of you two. What's the deal? It's not a picture of you two.
Yeah, it's her. Yeah.
Yeah, so you'd feel better if it was like you and her on there. Like if you really think about it, like does that make any sense? It's her personal profile. There's nothing to
Right.
do with you. If she shares with the world that she's got you in her life, and she's got the family, that's her personal profile. I barely post anything
Well,
personally. I know I'm supposed to and I
you
should with business and everything, but you know what I mean? Like
used to do the stuff like that, though.
that doesn't mean she
You
hasn't
should tell.
changed. Maybe she's frustrated with a lot of social media. Like you're overall, what you're trying to do is put a band-aid on the fact that you feel insecure because there's no couple
Exactly.
picture. So that should be something kind of like the phone that you use to deal with your anxiety and learn to cope,
Okay.
right? Like, babe, I was
All right.
thinking, I mean, when you talk about your needs, I was thinking like, I do think right now, I feel disappointed when I can't ask about the messages coming in. However, some of the stuff we did talk about, I think is silly. Like you can do whatever you want with your profile picture. I need to be dealing with my insecurities. You know, like when you start logically thinking about what you need, you figure out that you're trying to do a first order change with her, which is going to just make her unhappy, which makes her feel defensive, right? Because she doesn't want to feel that way,
Right.
right? Because deep down, a profile picture doesn't affect your relationship. It doesn't,
Right.
you know?
Okay.
What you need to have is a connection when you're together. What you need to have is to know she's looking at you with lust across the room. What you need to have is her talking to somebody across the room and she's just not even listening. She's thinking about you. Like you need to be the couple. When you are the superpower couple, you don't have these insecurities.
Right.
And I think you'll be a lot more like me actually than a lot of other men, but you personally, I think, you'll learn eventually. They might creep in, but you deal. Right?
Yeah.
Remember I told you that story? Catherine was taking her yoga pants off and
Oh,
like her panties went down. I was like, what? She's not wearing any underwear? And I go, babe, you're not wearing any underwear? And it was nothing to do with insecurity. Even though I'm sure it was subconsciously, my question was like, she always wears underwear. I'm like, ooh, Like when you get there, it's so worth it. But you're going to have to take the steps to deal with the anxiety that you're feeling because it's going to change even the tone. Another example would be nothing to do with this, but let's say just the fact that you made agreements for growth and you're not actually getting what you want yet. So if you think about it, it's causing you anxiety deep down of are we going to be able to move forward together? Does she even want to do it? Does that mean she doesn't want to be with me? Is she just lying? Is our family going to break apart? Oh my gosh, has all this been a waste of time? All of this is anxiety, right?
Right.
Instead of remembering, I'm just the leader. I'm just going to keep leading. It's not easy to change. Giving her the benefit of the doubt. Because right now she might be just doing it because she has to. Because you're like, I need this or this isn't going to work. But the second order change will come in the more encouraged she is, the more safe she feels, the more she can trust you, the more she sees that your leadership is worth following, right? You
Yeah.
don't chase her into the other
If
room
you want to lecture her about her apology, like that's not an apology when you apologize and say but and list a bunch of things of why you justified your behavior. That's not an apology.
agreed, but take my standpoint with apologies. Who fucking cares? She can apologize and apologize and apologize. But until you have her running to see you when you come home, or at least a nice big hello, hey babe, or a butt squeeze when you walk by her, you're not gonna, the apology will mean nothing until you feel the love from her.
Right.
Until you can trust her and you just realize one day, holy shit, I can trust you. This feels amazing. Right?
Yeah.
So you're getting hung up on society's solution when you think about apologies.
Yep.
Apologies do nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pete told you the same thing?
Yeah, Pete. Well, yeah, Pete talks about society solutions.
Mm-hmm.
It's not negotiable for him, like in his situation too. But okay, so I'm just gonna leave. I'm gonna leave the conversation as I want to know more about how she was feeling in the time, and then I'm gonna say, yeah, I could have come at it at a different time, and probably not when you woke up, when your kids are on your mind first thing.
I would lead with
And
that.
then,
That's a beautiful reflection. I would lead with that. Hey man, hey babe,
And then
I could have come at you at a
I guess,
different time today, and I guess I'm just wondering, how do you feel when I do those messages? You know,
yeah,
first get the permission that we talked about earlier, though. Make sure it's a good time, right?
yeah,
Be prepared that she might say yes, but it's not a good time. Just not respond.
right. And I don't think I want the conversation to go that long. I kind of want to be short and sweet, and so we can have some fun tonight.
Good attitude. That's a leader right there. Hard
It's
conversations don't have to be this big, deep, fucking, especially over something like this.
yeah, and I would just be like, I could have come to you at a different time, under the circumstances and under how you usually deal in the mornings is not the best time to bring anything up.
There you go.
And then how do I wrap it up? I don't need to say what I need from her. I don't need to be like, I need your support in this. I don't feel like I need to do that today.
Okay.
So,
Okay. If that's the case, when she
so
feels.
how do I just wrap it up?
So whenever you're done, you know how she feels, you understand, and you've not necessarily come to resolve, but you can ask her, so is there anything else that you'd like to add? You know, make sure she's done, and then be like, all right, cool. And then do something. I don't know, dip her. Give her a kiss. Say, you're fucking awesome. That was amazing. Well, that was 10 times better than what we're used to seeing. Fuck, I love you.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
this progress. Like, affirm her, thank her, give her gratitude. Then you're going to start to just go about your day. You just, what are we doing next? If you had something you're supposed to do together, all right, let's go and go do it. Okay, babe, thank you for that.
Right.
I got to get on XYZ, whatever. Can't wait to see you tonight. Whatever. You know what I mean? Just be natural, real, authentic.
Yeah.
Okay?
I like it. All right. I am going with it.
Cool. All right, brother.
Love you, yeah.
You too, dude. See ya.